Well, hello, hello. Hallelujah. This is Winston Cooper, your transformation relationship coach, giving you insight in relationships and marriage, because we believe that every Christ conquered marriage will win in this game called marriage. Marriage is a game. And some fail, some lose, some retry again and succeed. So we are here to help you win in this game called marriage and relationships. So your relationship can work. You can create a workable relationship for yourself. Now, I know the time where I'm at right now is kind of late, but I'm doing this because I want to fulfill a personal goal. You can just look at the recap when you get a chance. Hopefully that what I share with you tonight is going to be a blessing. It's going to bring transformation in your relationship. And most importantly, it's going to cause you to discern and detect if the person that you're about to marry or the person that you're engaged with is the one that God is calling you to marry. Even if you're married, hopefully that these 15 questions, they might revive or resurrect a marriage that has gone dry and that's dead. So hopefully you can have a lively stone marriage, as Oyedepo would say. Now, as I told you before, I'm not an expert in marriage. I'm not an expert in relationships, but I'm just a student of making relationships workable and making marriages workable. I did a lot of research and have applied some of the things that I'm teaching you today to my marriage and to my relationship, and has found it to be great, successful, and workable in our relationship, and most importantly in our family as we move as a family unit. And so if you can take on these 15 questions, you will know how to discern if that person that you love or is infatuated with is the right one. Because sometimes it might be a fling. Blessings on you. Glad that you came on. Sometimes it might be a fling. So you want to make sure that you have the right one that you're going to commit to. God began to reveal some things to me concerning 2024. 2024 is going to be a pivotal moment for singles, because I see a lot of marriages are going to happen in 2024. Some people are going to find not just their soulmate, but their heaven mate. They're going to find the one that God is designed for them to be connected to forever as they live on this earth. And so get ready for 2024, because 2024 will be a season where if you're single or engaged, you're going to find yourself enjoying marriage in a world where commitment has become devalued, in a world where people are not trying to marry because of the fears and because of what they've seen in their own family. There's a fear that keeps people from wanting to marry and wanting to commit themselves to one person. You're going to make a difference. If you take heed to this wisdom tonight, get ready to make a difference, because the greatest marriages are those who are choosing to commit and be integral in their marriage. So I want to encourage you to share this. Somebody needs to hear this. Somebody that you know needs to hear this. Somebody's about to get married without premarital counseling. Somebody's about to say I do without even evaluating who they're marrying. They're just caught with the objective surface demeanor of a person. They're just caught up with how a person looks, how a person makes them feel, and they're not moving in wisdom. So I want to encourage you, make sure you share this, and hopefully that this will be a contribution to premarital counseling to those who are seeking to be married. Now, you can, if you desire to book us, you can go to our email, and it's 50tech.com, and you can look at the email if you desire to book us. And I'm going to share some more information where I'll let you see it. I thought I had this set up. So much content. There you go. There it is. So you can just go ahead and screenshot that email if you want to book us for any type of engagement that you're about to do, or if you know that your church is in need of coaches that deal with relationship coaching or transformation coaching. Me and my wife would love to come and fellowship with you guys. There's an email there. There's a website there. And if you want to sow a seed, the information is there. Somebody asked me last time I did the workable relationship, what is your cash app? How can we sow a seed? Well, the information is right there for you. Now, let me move quickly because the time is forspent. Now, in Luke 14, just want to give you one chapter because I am a pastor too as well. So I want to give you one chapter. In Luke 14, verse 26 to 31, the whole theme of Jesus' concept of teaching this particular pericope is to weigh out disciples versus those who just follow him for fishes and loaves. But when you look at this from a marital standpoint, there's a marital hermeneutics there that we can see and grasp from the text. And of course, in verse 26, Jesus wants us to make him the center of our life. It is not, we should never be spouse-centered. We should never be child-centered. We should never be career-centered. Jesus must be the center of our life. If we want to have a workable relationship, if we want our marriages to thrive, even the person that you're going to connect with, you must make sure Jesus is the center of your life. But in verse 27, something stands out from a marital standpoint. Jesus said, and whoever does not bear his cross and come after me, he cannot be my disciple. Now, this is very key, because if a person is not willing to suffer with you, if a person is not willing to deny themselves for you, that person should not be fit to marry you. That is a key. If they're not willing to be a ride or die and commit themselves to you permanently, then they're not fit to marry you. And he says in verse 28, he says, for which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it? And so this is very key, because we get into marriages without sitting down and counting the cost, without having proper evaluation. And we just jump into these marriages and we wonder why it is not working. Okay. No, of course, we have, some of us have to have the t-shirt and we have the cup. But I'm going to share some principles with you that if you can take on these questions when you go out on a date, when you go talk to your partner in an intimate space or a quiet time, we have time with them. I want to share some things with you so that you can ask them these questions and evaluate, see if this person is the one that God is calling you to marry. Even if you have never asked your spouse, you're married right now, you never asked your spouse these questions, go ahead and take your time to ask them these questions, because they're going to help you become a finisher in your marriage. You're going to finish strong. You're not going to start well in marriage, but you're going to finish strong. Now, the first question I want you to ask them, or something that you need to know from your partner, is that you need to know your partner's temperament. You need to ask them, what is their temperament, and seek to know their temperament. What is their personality? Are they a choleric? Are they a sanguine? Do they have a comical personality? Do they run from pressure, or do they look forward to handle challenges? You need to know, what is your partner's temperament? Are they extrovert? Are they introvert? Because if you know their temperament, you will know how to relate to them from an intimate standpoint. That's the first thing you need to do. Because believe it or not, your partner's temperament might be different from yours. You might be an outstanding person. You might be a person that's outspoken. You might be a brassy type of person. Your partner might be a mild person. Your partner might not like to talk. They might not like to communicate or speak. And so you need to discern. You might be a party goer. You might be the life of the party. Your partner might not be able to handle being around other people in the community. So knowing the temperament is very vital. The second thing you need to know, and I'm going to share this because Keys shared this, the more you lovingly accept people in your life without conditions, the more you free them to enjoy being around you. Their egos and rational minds do not have to stay in a paranoid or defensive place. And when they are with you, they can begin to experience themselves, watch this, and you without a tunnel vision effect. See, when a person has been lovingly accepted by you because you have accepted their temperament, you have accepted their experiences, they won't feel like they're walking on eggshells around you. And you should not have to feel like you're walking around eggshells with them. You should not have to feel defensive around them. If you ever feel defensive around them, if you ever feel like you have to hide who you really are around them, then it could be there's a space where acceptance is not permitted. And so this is very key. That's why you want to know these things about your spouse or about the one that you're about to marry. You need to know these things because you're going to have to accept them for who they are. Now, the second thing you need to know is that you need to know your partner's childhood experiences. Your partner has an experience. The one that you're going to engage to, they got an experience. They've been through some things as a child. Why is it important to know their childhood experience? Because their childhood experience is the foundation which has made them who they are today. The foundation, or what we call, get my charger, or what we call the root to the fruit. So whatever you see with them today from a surface level, that's the fruit. So if you are aware of their childhood experiences, then you can understand why they do what they do. You can understand why they do what they do. Your child, your person, the person that you're about to marry, or even your spouse, they might have been molested, they might have been abused as a child, might have been raised by alcoholic parents, might have been a lot of traumatization, toxic dysfunction in their family background. They might have came from a good background. They might have came from a background that was built on a godly foundation. But whatever background they came from, it has affected them from childhood until now. So seek to have a conversation about that. What is their childhood experiences? What are their childhood experiences? What were some of the things they've been through? What were some of the things that they was afraid of? Some of the things that they thought was good. If they say, well, I don't want to talk about that right now, that's a red flag. You need to say, okay, we need to figure out how we can talk about it. Because if you're going to marry me, if you're going to spend your life with me, then it is just rightfully fair that I know what's going on, that I know how you experience your childhood. And because if they can't share that, then they're hiding something, they're concealing something, or the memory might be so painful that they need therapy. They need a counselor to draw it out of them. So it's important that before you even decide to say I do, make sure that you are able to hear and understand their childhood traumas and the things that were good in their childhood state. Even if you're married now, you need to go back and try to find how to know that part of them, how to get to understand that aspect of them. Now, when you look at Hendrick's statement, Hendrick's says, genuine love is not about getting, nor is it about completing yourself in any way. Genuine love is between two people who know they are already complete. Now, notice what he says. It's about two people who know they are already complete. And so you must make sure that the person that you are going to marry, or the person that you're married to now, you must make sure that they are complete in all areas of their life. Because if you marry somebody that is incomplete, you know that your marriage is going to be incomplete. You know that it's not going to finish well. So you need to discern, is this person complete with themselves? And watch what Hendrick says. Genuine love is based on a new paradigm in which both partners are committed to the celebration of each other and their loved ones. So that's why you need to get to know them from an intimate level so that you can celebrate who they are existentially. But if you don't really know your partner, if you don't really know the person that you're going to marry, you're not going to have an opportunity to celebrate them. Marriage is all about celebrating each other's idiosyncratic existence or each other's idiosyncratic personality. And so this ability to be transparent and talk about childhood traumas and talk about temperaments will help you build a strong, intimate relationship with the person that you're going to marry. Now, I've seen many people, they just jump into marriage without premarital counseling. They jump into marriage without really knowing their partner. Somebody might have prophesied to them that they came from a religious background. Somebody might have said that this is the one for you. Even the person might have said, God told me that you are the one. You might have got hooked up by a mother. So the mother might have hooked somebody up with you. A friend might have hooked somebody up with you. And that was the highest that the relationship went. And y'all went into marriage, or you sought to say, okay, this is the one. But you need to evaluate, because marriage is an investment. So you need to know these 15 things. Now, the third thing you need to know concerning your partner, you need to know their focus in life. Because as the meme says, your focus determines your reality. See, when you know their focus in life, And when you understand their focus in life, then you can say to yourself, okay, this person's going the same way I'm going. This person has a similar focus that I have. I can work with that. But what if they have a different focus than you? What if you desire to stay in Texas and they want to move to California? Or what if you say, okay, I'm going to eventually move to California, and they don't desire to move? That means that there's different focuses. There's a different vision. And we know that two visions creates side vision, which is a two-headed monster. And so people get into relationships and they don't know the focus of the person they're connected to. So even if you're in the marriage now, most of the frustration happens is because two focuses are in friction with each other. So you need to find out clarity on the focus of your partner. Now, the fourth thing you need to know is that you need to know your partner's favorite pursuits. Not just some of their pursuits. What are their favorite pursuits? What are they pursuing to accomplish in life? Have a talk with them. Have a dialogue with them. I hate to say talk, but have a conversation with them, because sometimes you can be talking to somebody and not having a conversation with them. But converse that. Hear what are their pursuits? What are their passions? And see if it resonates with you. See if their pursuits are similar to yours. If you have a spiritual pursuit and they don't have a spiritual pursuit, you know friction is going to happen. If you have a pursuit for increase, pursuit to expand your bottom line, and they don't have a pursuit or ambition to expand their bottom line, friction is going to occur. So you have to have a conversation with them. What are your pursuits? And if they say, oh, I don't know, I can't tell you right now, I really don't know. Well, you already know they failed the interview. Listen, you're interviewing them. Now, if you're married already, you got to figure out a way that you can understand their pursuits, because their pursuits is going to determine what they're going to invest in the relationship. It's going to determine if their pursuits is going to be a contribution to making your relationship workable. Now, I like this fifth one, because it's important. You need to know your partner's good habits and bad habits. Every partner or every spouse has good habits and bad habits. Even you have good habits and bad habits. So if you don't know their good habits from their bad habits, the moment you get married and see their bad habits, it's going to catch you by surprise. You're going to really get upset. So knowing their good habits and knowing their bad habits can prepare you for what you're about to get into. Even if you're married now, you need to look around, discern their bad habits from their good habits. You might like the toothpaste. When you have your toothpaste, you like to push it up. They might like to twist their toothpaste to get the toothpaste out. You might like the toilet seats always down. They might have a habit of leaving the toilet seat up. You might like to clean your dishes right after you eat. They might wait till the weekend to wash their dishes. See, you have to discern their bad habits from their good habits. They might be good at saving money. You might like to splurge. Would that bring friction? They might be thrifty with their money. You might like say, okay, no, let's spend this. Let's go splurge. Let's do this. We only have one life to live. See, you got to discern what are their habits financially, mentally, spiritually. Good habits and bad habits will prepare you for what you're about to get into. And here, I like what Campbell says. Campbell says something very powerful. Campbell says most people's communications are tarnished by unconscious defense mechanisms designed to protect them from feeling hurt, rejected, abandoned, control, or not in control. So notice, when you start trying to get to know them from a deeper level, if they pull this defensive mechanism out to protect themselves from feeling hurt or being rejected, then you got to find a way to secure them. You got to find a way to share with them that it's okay to be transparent with me. And you have to do the same thing. If they are asking you questions, you cannot put up a defensive mechanism. You cannot try to shut it down if they're trying to get to know you from a deeper level. Because a lack of transparency will rob intimate moments. So that's why you don't want your communication with your future spouse or even with your marriage partner, you don't want it to be tarnished. You don't want to be bound by miscommunication. You don't want it to just be on a surface level. You want your communications to go deeper. And it takes radical honesty, it takes transparency for it to go deeper. And these type of knowings, these type of questions that you will ask them, I call them to know them, but you're going to turn it into a question. These type of questions will help you get deeper and more intimate with your partner. The sixth thing you need to know your partner's learning function. What is your partner's learning function? Because why is this important? Because if you learn more audibly and they learn by what they see, you're going to have to learn how to change your language up to a standpoint where they can understand you. So if there are visual learners, sometimes you might have to give them pictures to communicate what you're trying to share to them. If they're audible learners, sometimes you're going to have to say words that can trigger their ability to hear what you're saying. If they learn by what they feel kinesthetically, you're going to have to do a lot of touching while you communicate to them. You're going to have to show a lot of affection while you communicate to them. Use words that that triggers their feelings. See, their learning function will help you and help them understand what you're trying to convey to them. Most of the time, when people get married, they do not spend time to discern or detect what is the best learning function of my partner, even yourself, because you might not like text conversation. You might like audible conversation. Okay, so if you read their text and you're not used to learning from a text, you might misunderstand the text. So you got to understand, what is their learning function? Well, how best do they learn? And go and just yield yourself to do that type of learning function. Express your feelings, express what you want to say in their highest capacity concerning their learning function. Now, the seventh thing you need to know for your partner, if you want your partner and yourself to have a workable relationship, a workable marriage, when you get married, those who are just getting on, we're talking about premarital counseling here. This is like a premarital counseling session. And some marriages, if it has not been revived, it's because there's a lack of knowledge of these 15 things that I'm trying to share with you today. Blessings on you, Elder Jason. Blessings on you, Take9, Coach Jay. So these 15 things that I'm trying to share, what you need to know, is going to resolve a lot of frustration and friction. I guarantee you, most of the friction and frustrations and arguments that occur in marriages now is because they lack the knowledge of these 15 things that I'm sharing to you. In 2024, get ready. There's going to be a lot of marriages. I said that in the intro. I'm going to say it again. You're going to find the one that you've been desiring, but you got to have a wise conversation with them, an intimate conversation with them, so that you can grow strong and make your relationship workable. The seventh thing, you need to know your partner's pet peeves. Oh yeah, your partner will have some pet peeves. Some things you might do might be a pet peeve to your partner. And if you don't have a conversation about pet peeves, when you do something and they don't like it, you might feel rejected. You might feel like they hate you for no good reason, not knowing that you have just triggered their pet peeve. They love you, but you just triggered their pet peeve. And you don't want to have that feeling of isolation and avoidance occur, or that feeling of, oh, my partner don't accept me for who I am, and because you lack the knowledge of what is their pet peeves in that moment. So pet peeves are important. I remember when me and my wife, we got married. Her pet peeve with me was I was leaving my books everywhere. My books were scattered everywhere. She did not like that. She got upset. I thought, man, there's nothing wrong with books. Books is not like leaving a plate. It's not like leaving food anywhere. Books is just a book. But it was a pet peeve to her. One of my pet peeves was my wife she's a cleaner, but then she does not like to she likes to keep the dirt in one pile, but does not like to use a dustpan. So she expects me to take the dustpan and sweep up the pile. She'll sweep the trash in the pile, but she doesn't use a dustpan. She expects for me to do that. That was like a pet peeve to me. I had to get to know, okay, this is something she don't like, and then relate to that. She had to adapt to where I like my books at, and then she had to adapt to that. See, those are pet peeves. You have to have a communication about pet peeves. Pet peeves is a major hindrance. It hinder a lot of marriages. You might like to go to the mall. Your partner might not like to go to the mall. They might like a quiet space. And you might feel upset because they're not going to the mall with you. It's a pet peeve that they don't like to go to the mall with you. So those are pet peeves you got to know. Little pet peeves are what I call small foxes. Little pet peeves are the small foxes that destroy the vine. And the more you know your partner's pet peeves, the stronger you can relate to them. Now, there's an 8th thing. This is the most important thing out of the 15. You need to know your partner's spiritual disciplines. Do they have any spiritual disciplines? Now, if you are a Christian, it's wise that you find a mate that has a passion for Christ. It's wise that you find a mate that goes to church without you telling them, that prays without you trying to encourage them to pray. If they don't have spiritual disciplines, then they're not going to be able to weather the storm. Me personally, I cannot trust anybody that doesn't have spiritual disciplines. Because if they don't fear God, if they don't trust God, or if they rebel against God, what makes you think they're going to respect you? What makes you think they're going to honor you when they don't honor God? See, spiritual disciplines is a foundation above emotional discipline. So, know their spiritual disciplines. Do they value communicating with God, which is prayer? Do they value hearing God's word, which is studying the word? Do they value connecting to a spiritual environment? Do they value fasting sometimes? Do they value the spiritual condition of their own life and the spiritual condition of the marriage? If they don't have spiritual disciplines, it's going to be a dangerous thing. Really communicate that. Don't listen. You don't want to have a missionary marriage. A missionary marriage is a person that has been deceived by the devil. If that person is not saved before you marry them, what makes you think you have enough power to really save them? You might have a possibility. There might be a 20% out of the 100 that you might just save them, but it's wise to make sure that they are saved, that they are submitted to the lordship of Christ before you marry them. It's very key, because what's going to happen is when you get on fire for God, they're not going to want to go to church. They're not going to want to pray, and it's going to hinder the marriage. But you're going to have to learn to love them based upon their lack of spiritual discipline. Now, the 9th thing you need to know, I'm dealing with 15 no's that you need to know with the person that you choose or want to marry. And those who are married already, please go back and get into conversations with your partner. Have this deep conversation with them, and it'll tell you where your relationship is standing. And the 9th thing, know what difficult events and periods your partner experienced in life. Your partner has experienced some different events. They have experienced some things in life that were difficult. Why do you need to know that? You need to know how they handled it. How did they cope with situations that were challenging? Did they run away from it? Did they seek to resolve the problem? Or did they just escape from it? Because if they couldn't handle personal tough times, don't think they're going to handle tough times when a marriage goes through tough times. They will not be able to handle tough times if they have not handled their own personal, difficult, tough times. So you need to see, okay, how did you respond to this situation? How did you handle this situation? Did you break down or did you break through? Now, I like what Campbell says, because Campbell says this: healthy communication that fosters connection, trust, intimacy, and respect is about knowing and being known. See, these questions that I'm sharing with you, these no's, you're gonna turn into a question to your partner, is seeking to have healthy communication with them. And so it's seeking to know them from the core being of who they are, not the surface level. You don't want the false self of who they are. You want to know their true self. So these knowings is going to give you the right questions to ask them so that you can know their true self and have a healthy communication. Now watch what Campbell says. It is not about getting people to do what you want. Questions conversations should never be disguised as sincerity, but it's behind manipulation. It should never be by manipulation. When you ask questions like these, it's not to control them or to get an upper hand on them. It's to seek to really know them so that you can truly accept them. Nicholas, bless you, sir. Bless you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for commenting. Now watch what Campbell says. It is not about controlling what we feel. It is about feeling what we feel. See, communication is to express what you really feel, not to control what you feel. Some of you feel hurt that your partner is not communicating to you. Some of you feel hurt that your partner is not really treating you fairly or right, and you're not even dealing with how you're feeling. You are distant to how you're feeling. Well, you have to get into a communication about that. You have to really share to your partner, in this moment, I'm feeling this way. I'm not saying my feeling is absolute reality, but I am saying this is how I feel. Just because you feel a certain way doesn't make it absolute reality. But you have every right to share what you feel in the moment. Subjectively, you feel this way. No one can take that from you. So communication helps you, watch this, process how you feel. And so it is about feeling what we feel and sharing what we feel and think in the present moment. This sort of open-hearted sharing is relating. If you cannot really honestly share how you feel to the one that you're about to marry, that's a red flag. If you cannot honestly share how you feel to the one that you're married to, that is a red flag. That is a form of toxic relationship. You should always be able to express how you feel. You should always be able to express your complaint or what you prefer. And that partner should be able to accept you, and you should be able to accept them. You don't want to gaslight them or crazy make. And we will deal with that on a deeper level. That's all teacher I have on that. Gaslighting, crazy making, and you don't want to do all that. You want to get into none of that type of method of attitude response. You want to be able to relate to your partner and how they're feeling. Because remember I told you, because if they share what they feel, it doesn't make it absolute reality. It doesn't make it the truth. But yet you're still open-hearted to hear how they feel in the moment. They have to go through their own individual transformation, just like you have to go through your own individual transformation. So it's key to have that ability to share. Oh, congrats, Nicholas. Congrats, man. Can't wait to see you come from Jamaica down here so we can celebrate. That is awesome. That is a blessing. Amen. Amen. So, Coach Jay, I don't know if you're still on. Good to see you, Jason Mooney. It's good to see you taking on. Hey, this is Brother Nicholas is Sister Soyan's husband. She went back to Jamaica and got married, and that is her husband. So we congratulate you, Nicholas Thomas. You made a major commitment, a great commitment, a great choice. God should surely bless that marital bond. Okay, awesome. So I'm real quickly. So 10, know your partner's parents' marriage paradigm. This is very important. Know your partner's parents' marriage paradigm. Go ahead and ask them, what did your parents teach you about marriage? By looking at their marriage, what did you learn from that model? By looking at how they related to each other, what did you gain from that? See, it's important because their parents' marriage model has a major influence on them as an individual. You have to be open to share with them your parents' paradigm. They have to be open to share with you their parents' paradigm. But you have to learn something from it. You don't want to judge them. You don't want to judge what your parents did, but learn something from it. What did you learn from it? Did you come from a religious, strict environment? Or did you come from a parental environment or a parental marriage environment that they was open to alcohol, open to dysfunction? How was the paradigm of your parents' marriage? Amen. How was their paradigm? And and hear what they say. Listen behind the words to what they're sharing. Now, the 11th thing, we're about to close. Know your partner's family expressions towards difficult situations. Because If you and your spouse go through a difficult situation, you know her family or his family is going to respond against that situation. They're going to respond a certain way. And so you got to know, how does her family, how does his family handle difficult situations? Are they wise? Are they sober enough to know that every marriage will go through a tough time? Every marriage will go through a difficult situation. Or will they be seeking to try to break the marriage apart because of the difficult situation? You got to really have a dialogue with that. You have to have a dialogue with them concerning this. Because believe it or not, you're not only marrying that person, you're marrying her family or his family. And so sometimes that can really bring a hindrance on the marriage. When you are not able to embrace her family, or she's not able to embrace your family, that can bring a breach in the marriage. So Hendrick says this. I like what Hendrick says. Hendrick says relationships flourish in an atmosphere of emotional transparency. Now I'm going to stop right there, because some of you are walking on eggshells with people that you are engaged with or married to, because they're not letting you be open with your emotions. You cannot be emotionally transparent. And whenever you be emotionally transparent, they down talk it or demean it. That's a problem. That is the construction of a toxic relationship. For healthy relationships to happen, there has to be emotional transparency. In other words, they have to be open to your good feelings and your bad feelings. Thank you. Amen, Brother Nicholas. Thank you. You have to be, listen, they have to be open to you being human. Sometimes you will be angry. Sometimes you will be sad. Sometimes you will be glad. Sometimes you will whine. Sometimes you will express the little boy. Sometimes she will express the little girl. At that moment, emotional transparency has to be created. As I share in my book, where's my book at? As I share in my book, one of the laws is sometimes we have to parent our spouse. What do I mean by that? We have to parent our spouse. Sometimes when they're acting like a little boy, then that's her time to not act like a little girl. It's her time to mother the little boy within him. When she acts like a little girl and pouts and gets upset, that's not the time for the husband to act like a little boy. That's the time for the husband to be a mature adult and father the little girl in her. That's emotional transparency. But if two kids are fighting, they're not going to be able to handle when the emotions or when there's tension in the atmosphere. So Hendrick says, especially when both people speak clearly about their deeper emotions, such as fear, sadness, and longing. Sometimes when you hear your partner complain or raise their voice, they're not raising it to just destroy you. They really cannot articulate their fear. There might be a certain fear they cannot really articulate, or they don't have enough knowledge sense to communicate it properly. So the only thing they know how to do is raise their voice, be argumentative, say something that is out of character, because why? They heard it from their parents. They heard it from their family background. They saw how it was handled in their house. So they're just simply echoing that because they don't have a knowledge sense base to know how to communicate properly. But guess what? In those moments, you got to be able to embrace that. That's why you need to know how their family handle difficult situations. This is a deep psychology. It is a deep psychology. If you share these 15 no's to the one that you're going to engage with or be married to during the time of engagement, you're going to see a big difference. If you're married right now, it's time to shift the paradigm of your marriage. As I told you before, my philosophy, I don't know about your philosophy. I believe that when you leave high school, the boyfriend and girlfriend days are over. When you leave high school, you don't want a girlfriend. You want a friend that's ready to be engaged and prepare themselves for marriage. And so what we see today is there's 40-year-old men, 50-year-old men, 60-year-old men saying they got a girlfriend, or there's a 60-year-old women saying they got a boyfriend. So they're still in high school. But after you leave high school, all you have is friendship until someone puts the engagement ring on. Nowadays, people getting tattoos for the wedding ring. But there has to be some token of commitment so that you can truly say that this is my future wife. He will be my future husband. And that's the time of maturity. That's the level of maturity. Now, let me move quickly. The 12th thing you need to know your partner's philosophy on money. Oh man, it's already time. It's already 10 o'clock. Lord help us. Okay, 40 minutes. I've been on 40 minutes. Okay. Know your partner's philosophy on money. This is very important. Sometimes we just get infatuated with a person and we want to marry them without knowing their philosophy on money. How do they handle money? How do they handle the green stuff? Because if you don't know your partner's philosophy on money, if your philosophy is different from theirs, it's going to create friction. I don't care if y'all have joint accounts. If you have joint accounts with two different philosophies on money, it's still going to bring friction. The philosophy of money is very important to know because you need to see, okay, does this person respect money? Does this person value money like I do? Or do they devalue money? Do we have the same type of philosophy for money? Are we in agreement with how the money is going to be spent? Can I see fruit? I don't want to hear the words. Can I see fruit on how he or she is handling money before I marry them? That's the philosophy. Are they good savers? Are they good investors? You need to know this. And those who want to, connect with us, you want to book me, my wife, we're open to do that. We'll tell you when we're available. If you want us to come to your church for transformation relationship coaching, we're open to do that. Someone asked before, what was the cash app? Here's information right there. You can sow appreciation offering by Cash App or Zelle, or if you just want to connect, you have a question, the email is right there. Okay. So let me move quickly. 13, know your partner's philosophy on child rearing. Now, this is for those single mothers. You might have children already. Well, when you marry that partner, you're going to have to be open to their philosophy on child rearing. You might have a certain philosophy that you're doing with your children right now as a single mother or single father. But when that partner comes in, that partner might have a different philosophy on child rearing. That's why you need to have a communication with them about child rearing. Are they strict disciplinarians? Are they lenient type of parents? Do they like to play good parent, bad parent? That's important because there's some parents that like to play good parent, bad parent. They like to make you the bad parent, and then they become a good parent, and all of a sudden the kids is hating you because you are appearing to be the bad parent, and they're appearing to be a good parent. That never works. Understand their philosophy on child rearing. Another thing, know your partner's value system. What do they value in life? What is first in priority? What are their priorities? How are their priorities set? What's the most important things that they do with their time? Know their value system, because guess what? If they don't value marriage, if they don't value intimacy in marriage, when you get married to them, don't expect it to happen. Because it was never in their value system before you married them. That's why you got to know their value system. How much are they spending time with you now before you be married to them? Or even after you're married, what is the value system? Because it is the value system that's bringing the negligence, it's bringing the separation, it's bringing the apathy, or is the value system that bringing the intimacy? Do they value just giving you gifts instead of spending time with you? Those type of issues you need to seek out. You need to know what is their value system. Last time, because of time. No, this is important. Know your partner's philosophy on love. You must know your partner's philosophy on love. Because how you define love might be different from how they define love. You might have a different definition on what love is versus what they feel or think love is. So you got to ask them, what do you feel love is? So if they think love is just you giving them gifts, or love is just you taking them out, they don't want to go to Cheesecake Factory on the first date. I don't know if y'all seen that. If they think Cheesecake Factory is below their consciousness, then you know their concept of love. Are they gold diggers? Do they really love you because they value what you're about? Or do they define love as loyalty? Do they define love as commitment? Do they define love as keeping their promises? How do they define love? Or do they define love as you putting them on a pedestal And that's when they give love back. See, their concept of love may be different from your concept of love. So you have to really explore that conversation with them. What would be something that would make you fall out of love? That's a question that you need to ask them. What would be something that would make you fall out of love? How can you fall out of love? That's a better way to ask it. How can you fall out of love? Ask them, how can you fall out of love? And so you need to hear what they're saying. Bless you, Coach Jay. Hear what they're saying. These 15 no's will prevent you from choosing the wrong person. These 15 no's of knowing your partner will prevent you from missing the right person. Because believe it or not, just because a person is quiet does not mean that they are the wrong person. It simply means somebody has to initiate the right conversation with them and talk to them and ask them the right questions and draw out their true essence. And they might just be the right one for you. This is important. This will help prevent domestic violence, because domestic violence has been a dangerous what I'm trying to say. Domestic violence has been increasing lately. It has been increasing lately. Domestic violence happens because there's broken communication. People don't know how to articulate. People don't know how to be mature. People are still in their childhood state, and therefore they commit to being violent. And so hopefully by you having these 15 no's and having this understanding and this type of knowledge, you will know if this person is going to be domestically violent before you engage with them or marry them. May these 15 questions, may these 15 statements that I share with you become questions for you to prevent you from making the wrong decision later on. God bless you. Are there any questions? Thank you, Brother Nicholas. Are there any questions? We're going to leave it open for any questions. I still got a couple more minutes, but I just wanted to share these 15 no's, K-N-O-W. Sometimes once you have these 15 no's, you know these no's, you're either going to say no, or yes, yes. So definitely hope that this was, amen, blessing to you. Hope that this was a type of wisdom that you needed. And those that you know that they're seeking premarital counseling, let them look at this clip. Let them look at this link. And this might help them. Some of them are on the verge of going to Las Vegas right now. They're about to be married by Elvis Presley. But make sure you give them this link on their way to Las Vegas, because we don't want them to make a dangerous decision that will cost them time in life. I've seen marriages, they had nice wedding cakes. The husband decked his wife up with a nice ring, and come to find out she was not qualified, or he was not qualified for her. So it's important that we know this. I just got on, so I'm going to take it back to the beginning. Thank you for you. Bless you, Sister Tacoma Alacarte. Thank you for coming on. All right, so we'll be back later on with another live on another subject. God bless you. Enjoy your week and be empowered. Amen.